There's a huge amount of buzz for many different angles in the media in terms of food security, modern food production techniques, environmental sustainability, better nutrition for underserved populations, all these different things. And there's a lot of noise in the industry. And you and I have had this conversation where we've talked about there's two industries kind of going on at once. One of which is kind of like the public face of the industry. This is what people come to me all the time. They're like, oh, I heard you're in hydroponics, and I just read this really great article about how everyone is going to be growing food in skyscrapers and on indoor systems, and we're going to grow food on the moon and all this. And then there's what I kind of consider the underground industry, and this is where the real growth in the industry is. We have a lot of growers that are small-scale growers. Some are utilizing existing farms, and they're enhancing their production with hydroponic techniques. Others are jumping in from outside from other industries, but they're involved actively in food production. So a lot of what we're seeing, kind of the public face of controlled environment agriculture, is not the realistic representation of what's going on. So we see a lot with a lot of newer types of exotic systems. There's a lot of advances in a lot of our technologies, but in some of them we're not seeing a correct application of technologies, and we can talk about that going forward. But basically, we see indoor container systems, we see vertical systems, we see all these different types of systems as kind of the be-all, end-all, and they're not. So basically, we have this whole smorgasbord of different technologies, and the real change makers in this industry, the people who are really producing the food, who are really feeding the people and providing green jobs, are the ones that are taking the appropriate technologies and putting them together correctly. So there's a lot going on in the industry. There's a lot that is, that we hear about that, is not real sound production technology, but the growth in the industry really is pretty tremendous.
So Joe, my background is management. I'm an organizational psychologist, and working in management, what I've come to realize is that the success of any business is based upon a series of ratios. Mm-hmm. Plants per square foot, et cetera, et cetera. And we're seeing an industrial approach to food production, and this industrial approach to food production is considered in some quarters evil. In other words, let's get right to the nub of the problem. There's what I call the religion of dirt, and people say if it's not grown in dirt, it's not as good as you think it is. And there are things missing that should be there and aren't there. Now, I'm not a scientist, and I'm not in a position to make that judgment. But there's a large group of people who have taken the opinion that they're looking at hydroponics in a way as almost being ungodly, and lacking trace minerals, et cetera, et cetera. What is your general thought about that argument about growing in dirt, growing in a fixative, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, understand, I'm a fourth-generation farmer, so I have been, since I could walk, I've been involved in conventional agriculture. So I'm deeply connected to it as well, and I do understand the connection that a lot of people have to the soil and to a lot of our traditional farming techniques. And I'm really kind of the mindset that hydroponics is just another production method in terms of, when we look at even our conventional field production, there's many different types of production, and so hydroponics is just another arm of that. And so as long as you pay attention to what the soil provides and you provide that, there is no difference functionally at all. And so this is where a lot of the debate, we've heard a lot about the organic debate right now, where they're talking about you can't be organic unless you have soil. And I understand the connection with the soil, but basically what the soil is providing is it is providing a media for the plants to grow that dissolves basically all of the nutrient elements that plants need for growth, such as nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc., are dissolved in soil moisture. And there's a great amount of microbial action going on within the soil, beneficial microbes, different fungi and bacteria that are decomposing minerals and interacting with the plant roots. And the roots are also getting oxygen from the soil, and they're getting physical stability from the soil in terms of something to provide physical support. So with hydroponics, what we're doing is we're supplying exactly the same things. And if you look at nutrients, and we can talk in more depth about nutrients,